Exactly. Yeah. Meeting everyone. We like to meet Chris a lot. My dad's a total sack too. Right. Yeah, sometimes we'll do too. Okay, Shabbat Shalom and welcome everyone. Hope everyone had a great week and is enjoying the warmer weather here in town. We will get started with the introduction to our Kabbalat Shabbat service, the service for welcoming Shabbat. Let's turn to page 5 in our Sidurim, and let's sing together at the bottom of the page, welcoming Shabbat, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Baruchuni leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Let us turn together to page 11 and begin Kabbalat Shabbat with Psalm 95, Lechu Neranena. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, nekadama fanav betoda. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. The heavens shall be glad and the earth rejoice, the sea and its fullness roar. The meadows and all that grows in them exult, even the trees of the forest shall sing praise, as Adonai comes to judge the earth, judging lands with righteousness and peoples with divine truth. Page 14, in the middle of the page, let's sing together, Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, umlo, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, umlo, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy. Page 20, towards the bottom of the Hebrew section, join me in singing Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Let's now turn to page 21 for Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid. Please rise. Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai Bnei Elim, Havul Adonai Kavod Va'oz, Havul Adonai Kevod Shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai Behadrat Kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim. Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arze halavanon, וירקידם כמו עגל, לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול אל איילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד, אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלom. You may be seated. We will continue now with Lecha Dodi, the hymn that formally welcomes Shabbat. We will sing the first two stanzas on page 23, the middle stanza on 24, and the final stanza on 25. When we get to that final stanza, we will all rise, face the entrance of the sanctuary, and if you are at home, you will rise and face the entrance of your home to welcome Shabbat. Pages 23 through 25. And since we are still in the middle of counting the Omer, the period between Passover and Shavuot, there is a special melody for Lecha Dodi during this time period. Please join me, pages 23 through 25. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'l'tiferet v'lithilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machashava techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Middle of 24. Hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alaich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Page 25, please rise, face the entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated. We will continue now on page 27 with Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha balelot. Ale asor v'ale navel, ale higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards. Page 28 in the very middle of the Hebrew section, Sadik Katamar. Sadik Katamar Yifrach Ke'erez Balevanon Yizke Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzerot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvun Beseva Deshenim Vera'ananim Yiyu Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Tsuri Tsuri Velo Avala Tabo. Before we continue with the Mariv service, I just want to take a few moments to talk about this week's Torah reading. The parsha this week is Emor, which is somewhat of a difficult parsha to speak about as it concerns the laws of the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, which of course is not a public figure that we have in Judaism anymore. Plus, it also talks about some of the laws of sacrifices, another ritual, another practice that we no longer do. And of course, Emor is also known for talking about what happens when someone insults or speaks out against God, which is also a very hard topic as well. We're going to be talking about that a little bit more tomorrow and kind of finding some of the more positive elements of that. But there is a part of the Parsha that I want to touch upon tonight, which is Emor outlines all of the festivals and holiday observances that we as Jews are required to celebrate and required to observe. And so, of course, it starts with the three festivals, Passover, Sukkot, and Shavuot. And of course, it also makes reference to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as well. But there is a practice, one that I mentioned a few minutes ago before we did Lecha Dodi. There's a practice that the Torah also refers to, which is counting the Omer. And it specifies that we are to count 49 days between Passover and Shavuot. Now, traditionally, the Omer is known as a period of sadness, actually, and a period of solemn observance. Very traditional Jews refrain from listening to music, going to live performances, having personal celebrations, birthday parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs, etc. And the men in traditional Judaism do not cut their hair or shave during this time period as well. It is believed rabbinically that the period of the Omer was later on in Jewish history, that many different things that were negative that happened to the Jews happened during the Omer, the Bar Kokhba rebellion, Masada, certain things pertaining to the Holocaust all happened during the Omer period, and so we are in a period of mourning. I feel that perhaps we should take a little bit of a different approach, and that the Omer period can be viewed in a positive light as well. If we think about Passover is the holiday that celebrates our freedom, our redemption from being captured, from being enslaved by the Egyptians. So then, if that's the case, if we are freed during Passover, why then do we have to count the Omer from Passover to Shavuot? Shavuot, of course, is the holiday where we received the Torah from Mount Sinai and received the Torah from God. So why do we have to count that time period from our freedom to receiving the Torah? And there is an idea that becoming free is only the first step, that our growth as humans, our growth spiritually does not end there. That there is an idea of moving forward with our freedom and moving forward into spiritual growth to be ready to receive the Torah. And that is ideally why we count the Omer. So the idea and the message I would like to leave everybody with this evening is, let's not view the Omer as a time of mourning, as a time of sadness, as a time of being solemn. Let's view the Omer period as a time of self-reflection, as a time of growing from being free to being able to celebrate Matan Torah, the giving, the receiving of the Torah. And maybe by doing that, we'll be able to view the Omer as a little bit more of a happy time and a more fulfilling and meaningful time period. And I think that is one of the very positive things we can take away from Emor this week. With that, let us continue now with the Mariv service on page 39A. It looks like we have a hybrid minyan between those who are here in person and those who are on Zoom. And so I would like to invite everyone to please rise for the Baruch call to prayer, top of page 39A. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Baruch et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Please join me on the English side of 39A as we read together the first blessing of the Mariv service. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tsevaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. Umavir yom umevihi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai Tsevaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, taminim lo chaleinu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Page 40, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amacha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu u'v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavecha, uvechol nafshecha, uvechol meodecha, ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavacha, hayom al levavecha, ve'shinantam levanecha, ve'dibarta bam, Beshivtecha beveitecha, uvelechtecha vaderech, uveshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvihisharecha. We'll continue privately with the second and third paragraphs of the Shema, page 42. Adonai Elohechem, page 43a at the top. Emet ve'emuna kol zot ve'kayam aleinu, ki hu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ein zulato, va'anachnu Yisrael, Amo. God brought Israel from its midst to lasting freedom and led them through the divided water of the Sea of Reeds. As their pursuers and enemies drowned in the depths, God's children beheld the power of the divine. They praised and acknowledged God's name, willingly accepting God's sovereignty. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people of Israel joyfully sang unto you, Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders? Top of page 44. U'malchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'vnei Yisrael lechanu shira besimcha rabba ve'amru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, O seifele, Malchutecha ra'u v'anecha bokeh hayam lifnei Moshe, Ze'ili anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Ve'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, Ugealo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We will continue now with Hashkivenu, top of page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us, and you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ushmor tzeiteinu vo'einu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam ufaros aleinu sukat shalomecha baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al chol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Let's now turn to page 46, and we will all rise as we continue with Veshamru and Chatzi Kadesh. Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash shavat vayinafash, veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divarach Yerutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, uvizman kariv veimeru, Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam le'almei almaya, Yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpa'ar, ve'yitromam, ve'yitnaseh, ve'yithadar, ve'yitalev, ve'yitalhal, shemei dekudesha berichu, le'ela min kol berchata ve'shirata, tushbechata ve'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, ve'imeru, Amen. And we'll continue now with the silent private Amidah, which begins on page 47 and concludes on page 52. If you are still reciting the Amidah, please continue. I invite everyone to turn to page 51 and join me together for the final blessing of the Amidah, the prayer for peace. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amecha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amecha tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol leit uvechol sha'a b'shalomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. And now we will go ahead and add into our service, our Friday night service, the Mishaberach prayer, the prayer for those who are ill. I will first sing the Debbie Friedman Mishaberach song, and then read the list of names that we have in our community. If you have a name you would like to add this evening, please rise or remain standing in your place. And then after we go around the room, we'll give those that are online a moment to add a name as well, if you so choose. May all of these people we pray for find healing soon. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Chava Sarah bat Basha, Esther Neshama bat Sarah, Yehudit bat Kalman, Rachel bat Avraham ve'Esther, Diane Chodoro, Alan Chodoro, Larry Levy, Nachama Malka bat Devorah Shoshana, Manoach Avram Halevi ben Ilana Michal, David ben Razel, Mirit bat Miriam, Aaron ben Chaya Golda, David ben Yehudit, Yardena bat Sarah, Eliakum ben Yehudit, Dan Shaw, Al Montano, Sandra Kite, Hilit Solomon, Kathy Brown, Gary Guto, Harriet Feinberg, Arnie Tenenbaum, Frank Todora, Philip Todora, Brandon Simpson, Myrna Steinhoff, Ken Gasser, Cynthia Chapman, Ira Robinson, Deborah Tarika, Diane Hernandez. Is there anyone online who would like to add a name? Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May they all find healing soon. We'll continue with the full Kaddish, page 54. Yit Gadal Vit Kadashem Rabba. Be'almadi v'rakirute ve'amlich malchute b'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayechol Beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman karim ve'immeru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'le'al me'al maya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush berchata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'yimmeru. Amen. Titkabal tzolot ahon v'atahon dechol Yisrael kodam avahon divishmaya v'yimmeru. Amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimmeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'ihimeru. Amen. I'd like to invite everyone now to turn to page 55 for the Shabbat evening Kiddush. If you are at home and you have your wine or grape juice ready, please go ahead and get that. And for those who are here, please come forward. We have some grape juice for you here. Page 55, please rise. Page 55. Savrim Ananan Verabanan Verabotai, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Borei Peri Hagafen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'rishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. And we will continue with Aleinu, page 56. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo samech Elokeinu gahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, על כן נכבד לך אדוני אלוהינו. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. At this time, we will remember those in our community who are no longer with us. This Shabbat, we remember Abraham Kashantz, Irma Volk, Howard Kashantz, Dorothy Berlin, and Janet Chodorow. And if there's anyone else you're remembering this evening, please take a moment to remember them in your mind and in your heart, and may their memory be for blessing and goodness. We will continue with Mourner's Kaddish, page 58. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'almad yivarach kirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam olalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemed kudesha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. Before we conclude our service with Adon Olam, do we have any announcements? Sure.
Just two very short, good Shabbos, two very short announcements. Tomorrow's service starts at 9:30. I hope we have a big crowd. I'm looking forward to a big crowd tomorrow morning. It'll be very nice. And please make your reservations for the Mother's Day brunch, May 14th. And all the information is on our website and on the blast. So please refer to those as well to get all of the details.
I would also like to add that this coming Wednesday, May 10th, I will be teaching a class at the JCC about Jewish Broadway, about the Jewish influences that we can find in Broadway shows, both in the content and the music. The class, I believe, begins at 11 a.m. There will be a little bit of a small meet and greet snack kind of thing, coffee and snacks at 10:30, the class at 11, and then there will be lunch at 12. If you want to RSVP for that, please contact the JCC. The person running that is one of our members, Jill Petrusnik, so please contact her. And then also mark your calendars for May 20th will be our Shabbat, where we celebrate our confirmation students who will be graduating confirmation this year as well. So please keep that in mind. With that, let us conclude with Adon Olam on page 211. The melody we will do tonight is written by the very famous Jewish and Yiddish composer Shalom Secunda, whose great niece is part of our community and is a very close friend of Vicky Camarlingo. And if you don't know who Shalom Secunda is, he wrote the famous song by Mirbis Duchesne. He also wrote this Adon Olam as well. Please join me, page 211. Adon Olam asher malach beterem kol yetzir nivra leit nasa vechevso kol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam asher malach beterem kol yetzir nivra leit nasa vechevso kol azai melech shemo nikra ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא וחפשו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיל לו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמסרה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא וחפשו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום מקרה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא וחפשו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא בידו אבקיד רוחי בעת ישן ועירה ואם רוחי גוויעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא וחפשו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Good Shabbos.